Hi, I'm Stacy Franklin with Artisan Design Concepts, and I'm here with
Corey with Savage Patriot Polymers.
and we are going to show you how to apply the brand new Fortified TopCoat FTC. We have already started using this week and it is amazing. So now we are going to show the gloss on a shower panel. Let's get started. Okay, we're ready. So you want to shake your part A, just like that. It comes with a filter, and that is to try to avoid any little chunks that might come into it. And the reason for that is that the product over time will kind of stick to the edges of your bottle and could end up in your mix. So this is a way to try to avoid that. So we took the square footage, which is 75 square feet, and we multiplied that by 0.2, and that gave us 15 ounces total product needed. So this is a 2-to-1. I'm going to put this to the 10, and I'm filtering this as I go. Okay. And there's really nothing in here, so not much chunk, brand new bottle. But if you open it and then you close it again, every time you do that, the air kind of gets trapped in there. So the filter will definitely help. And we are going to go to the 5, 15. And we're going to mix for 2 minutes. Now, while I'm mixing, Corey, do you want to explain why you came out with this version and what's different about it?
Yeah, for sure. So originally we came out with the SP Elite, which is still a good product. We wanted something a little bit more easier and also kind of a nicer touch to it. So when these countertops or shower panels are completed, they're going to have a much nicer feel. You do have way more working time. And essentially all you do, instead of going with the old-fashioned way of putting it in a roller tray, you don't need to do that. So essentially you're just going to pour a bead out. You're going to have the first person do a wet roll. If you need to come back with another wet roller just to kind of get more consistency, then that's fine. And then all we're going to do is back roll it one time, maybe 2 times, but generally it's just 1 time to get you that cool kind of orange peel leather texture.
I call it a soft leather.
Yeah.
So it's the finish that I really like. When you run your hands over it, it's so smooth you can't feel any texture, but there is a slight texture, and that's going to help give you the durability that you need. So we have already worked with the matte, and we'll be filming that again. And so that way you can see the final texture on each, the gloss and the matte, when we're complete.
Yeah, and you'll see how much easier it is to apply than even our own SP Elite. And so again, for us, we're always trying to innovate and come up with something better that is easy for everyone to use. And I think we nailed that with this. So.
The cool thing is it goes so far.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We mixed it at the typical ratio that we were doing before was 0.375 times your square footage. And we had so much left over. So then we lowered it down and we did 3. Then we went to 2.
Yeah, this is actually gonna be half. This is gonna go more than double.
The matte?
Well, no, the matte or the gloss.
SP Elite.
No, they're both, gonna go more than double the SP Elite, or anybody else's on the market as well. So
it was insane.
Yeah, it goes a lot further for sure.
So the ratio is still being figured out, but it's probably going to be less than 0.2. We're even thinking it might even be 0.14. But we mixed up extra because you'd much rather have more than not enough, right? So I'm going to start here. Actually, I like to start from left to right. That's just preference. I'm going to put a little extra down. The difference between this and other top coats I've used is you don't want to flood your piece. Okay, so here I'm just using a little extra to get my roller dampened. And if you want to kind of come in a little closer, I want you to kind of see I'm putting a good amount of pressure because I want to get this worked in. And you see, I don't know if the camera's catching it with the light. It's a very tight pour. I don't have a bunch of material laying on top. And I'm just going to pour out what I need as I go. I'm not in any particular hurry. I have sanded this with 320 grit. cleaned it off.
Yeah, you always want to sand with 320 before a top coat. Anything heavier than that, obviously, the objective is to hide any of those scratches that we may put in. So a lot of people are using 220. We actually prefer 320.
Right.
It's just a lot smoother of a finish.
Now you don't want to go higher than that though. So I spoke with a gentleman recently who went up to 500, and I said, you don't want to soften your material because you want that bite, that adhesion.
Yeah, you still want a profile, but there's a happy medium between the 220 and the 320. 320, in our opinion, is definitely the best.
Okay, so guys, look at this real quick. I mean, on this, I went to 15. So 3 ounces is what I use on this entire piece. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to do a wet roll, and Corey's going to follow me with his dry roll.
And that most likely that will be it. Really, the stuff is super easy to work with. You don't have to rush. The biggest thing is get your first coat down, your initial wet coat, and then there's no reason to panic when you're back rolling.
Yeah.
See, I'm just taking my time, and then we'll kind of look at it. If you want a little bit more texture, then you can wet roll it again. Dry roll it again. This is a dry roller here. So I'm just going over it, and then we'll kind of look. It is going to settle slightly and kind of level out a little bit. And that's what you have to judge. You don't want to come back 20 minutes later and try to get a tighter finish on it because it will tack up a little bit. So
so you can see the texture and sort of the little bubbles that are created slightly.
And those will come out.
And those are going to come out. And so that's what you're looking for, is to look at the texture at that point, and everything looks really good. And I'm going to, will you do that other one?
Yeah, and
if you come from this side, Preston, we have our cameraman today. Come on over here. I want you to catch this light right here if you can. Okay, perfect. So that is sort of flattening out, and that's going to create that leather finish. If we rolled it one more time, it would give it more texture. So as we move left in the piece, trying to catch that light just to show that texture, it's already starting to soften and settle down. And because this is a shower, I feel like you don't need a bunch of texture for durability because you're not putting anything down on it. So we're going to continue to move on to the next piece.
Do it from this side so we can see a little.
All right. So my roller is still quite saturated, so I'm not going to use very much material. I'm not changing rollers during this process. We have some on hand, like if your dry roller gets too saturated and you don't see it kind of calming down the piece, just have it on the ready.
Yeah,
and these are 3/8 nap rollers. They're 6-inch, and we de-shed them with some blue painter's tape before we get started. The key is to just make sure you have good coverage. And I'm telling you, you guys, I have not seen a lap line if you follow these directions. Now, if you want to re-roll it again, just, it's all based on your temperature in your pouring area, at your house, wherever you're doing it, try to keep it consistent. So we're up here in Marysville at the Savage Patriot Polymers headquarters, where it's been pretty cold.
Yeah.
This Southern California girl has had an eye-opening experience, but it's taking this about 3 days. I'll come right back to it.
Back again.
Mm-hmm. It's taking about 3 days to really, really cure. It's touchable softly the next day, but you wouldn't want to install a sink or move it or anything like that for about 3 days in this temperature. And it's been in the 50s during the day, and
at 70
30s.
degrees, 70 degrees is what it really needs to, cure out the best. The other thing I want to mention with the matte version that you're going to see a lot of, it won't fully matte unless it is at that temperature or greater within the first 24 hours. It will take a little bit more time. So you just have to kind of be patient with it.
Yeah, we did several counters over the last few days, and it looked shinier, almost like a satin. But today it's starting to matte out more, and I'm guessing it's probably about done being, matting out, wouldn't you say, Corey?
Yeah. Yeah. The matting agent definitely needs its 70. It will get there. It just, it'll get there slower if your room is a lot cooler. And unfortunately, we've been dealing with a lot of cool
temperatures. Now, I want you guys to take notice of how Corey is rolling. He's got very little pressure. He's letting the roller do the work, and he's going at a diagonal, which was new for me. Explain why you like to do that.
Yeah, so essentially, if this were a countertop and it were really, really big and, you were having difficulty with anybody's product, it's always kind of a best practice to go at an angle so that if I were sitting at a table here, I would never see a line even if I had one. I've always gone at an angle and have had success almost every time I do it. So that's why I do it the way I do. I'm actually going to hit this one more time because I do see a couple dry spots.
Okay. So that's the cool thing is there's plenty of working time that he's able to go hit that again and not worry. And it's kind of cool. I'm standing here. I see all these little bubbles, but I'm watching them pop as I stand here. It's like Rice Krispies.
Yep. And this product will level. So if you see something right away, again, give it time. Mm-hmm. Just got to let it do its job.
I know this looks weird that it's a small little shower panel, but this is actually going above a bathtub with a ledge in between the two panels you just saw us.
Yeah, these are actually quite big showers.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
don't let these pieces fool you. And she's got some pretty cool stuff to show you in some other videos that we've been working on.
Oh, definitely.
Really impressive.
I'm going to start this next one while you finish. Yep. And you guys, I poured again. So I'm at 8 ounces of my 15 right now. And we have one other panel that it's kind of hard to film because there's some things in the way. So we're not going to film the last one. We'll just film these 3. And then whatever's left in our bucket or our cup here, we're going to go use on another panel because we have 4 different showers to coat. This has been quite a big project. And we're so grateful for Savage Patriot and Corey and everyone here that's helped us fabricate and pour and just help get this huge project done.
It's a massive project, for sure.
It is. So I am not worrying about like making dents on my roller because I'm far enough in that I could just push hard and that, kind of takes care of itself. But always make sure you're getting your roundovers. Coat the sides of your pieces, the underside of your pieces. That just helps make it that much more watertight, especially in a shower. But I have plenty of working time. You can see that Corey isn't rushing me like, hurry up, it's setting up. Normally by now, kind of be panicking.
A lot of people, and again, to be honest, even with the SP Elite, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to add something else on as well, just to appease as many people as we can. And, we want people to have a good experience with our products. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll do one more.
There.
Yeah, I'll do one more little roll here. Let me get the round over here on the top edge. These panels are pretty cool. It's a wild pattern. We're from Mild to Wild, and this is for a little girl's bathroom. Her mom allowed all the kids to choose the design in their bathroom. So we have 4 different designs going in this house. Everyone is a little bit different, but I think this one is my favorite because it's just so pretty.
I like the manly one.
You like the manly one?
Yeah.
We did a John Deere one. We'll definitely show that.
I don't know that I would have it in my house, but I can say it turned out.
It did turn
amazing.
Out really cool.
It's really cool. I think John Deere's actually going to call and see if they can send us a new tractor. We might get a new tractor. We might get a new tractor out of it. And we're okay with that.
Ahead.
We take tractors.
You take tractor, yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
This is a working farm, guys. So if you hear any roosters outside, just it's just part of the game. They wake me up every day at about 3:15. Though some mornings 2:45.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2:30, but every day it seems to get earlier and earlier. So that's my alarm clock. Don't need to set one here. And I think you could probably roll this one more time, Corey. Don't you think?
Let me take a look at it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's settling right here. So,
I mean, it's up to you.
I'll do it. I hit that last one.
Twice?
Yeah, just because there was a couple tiny dry spots. And again, if you see some dry spots, you can take care of it even with your dry roller. Now, I'm not applying pressure, but I will tell you, the other day when we were doing a bunch of mat, there was some areas that we kind of had to scrub in. We had some stuff fall in it, scrubbed it in, wiped it off with our fingers, which normally with top coat, it's pretty frustrating. You kind of panic and freak out, but this stuff has been so forgiving. You don't worry, you wipe it out and, roll through it 100 times.
Okay, so he's referencing me panicking because I am the panicker.
Well, most people panic when it comes to top coat. I'll be honest, we used to as well. And it was just a very unsatisfying time every time we had to do it. And, that's why we want something that people don't have to panic on. You do a good design and you feel happy about it. And next thing you know, you're upset because you have to do this part,
That looks really good. We can film the last one. Just don't mind all the boxes and product in the background, guys. But, we're in a shop, so.
We're in the back side of the shop. We have lots of products and lots of things happening around here. So,
so just go with that, whatever. But I want you guys to see how much product we end up with, right? Because I'm curious, too, the matte versus the gloss and how far it goes. But I'm putting good pressure, so I make sure to push it into the board and that I'm coating everything well. Make sure your lighting is really good because
not like this.
This is actually good lighting. It's bright. So
you just have to be on the right side.
You have to be on the right side of it so that way you can see the reflection, because if you don't, you could have dry spots and, peekaboos. So really having, if it's not great lighting, have a helper that can shine a flashlight. We did 2 bathrooms in a not so well lit area, but we just put a flashlight on it. And
oh yeah, your lighting, you can see.
You can see it. I can't see the other side. So.
See, I can't see from here.
Right. So. Well, you're taller than me too, so there's a whole different vantage point. But you know what? Look at that. We're not going to have any extra.
We're right on the money.
We're right on, and that was at 0.2 on the gloss. So. Good to know. The matte, I feel like, went even further. I'm not sure why, or maybe these are just bigger, and so it's just, I don't know. But always mix more. I'd rather throw some away than be halfway through a job and go, shoot.
Well, that's a good point. The last thing you want to do is run out in the middle of a piece, because it doesn't matter what product you're using. It is a urethane, so you are going to have some issues in trying to tie in, if you have to wait another 2 minutes and mix.
Right.
It is important to mix most of our products at about 2 minutes, and this is no different. So if you are doing this by yourself and have to stop halfway through, you're asking for trouble. So always have a little bit extra if you can, and really, that to me is not extra.
That was only, we're at what, 1 ounce or 2 ounces?
Something like that. But especially
keep in mind it's a 2 to 1, so you have to round up anyway to get the right mixing ratio.
Especially since the other day we had, like, I don't know, a lot left over.
We had a lot left over. All right, so I'm gonna make sure I'm rolling over the edges every time, because this is the easiest part. The round over is the easiest part to miss.
And again, this is what everyone's going to see. And like she said, it is important to, especially on a countertop, you want to kind of encapsulate everything you have here. So your epoxy or your polycoat, whatever you're using, you want to wrap it under. And the last thing you want is somebody sitting here picking at your table and feeling wood. Yeah. So make sure to coat it all.
That's right.
Best practice.
The best practice, which we couldn't do on this panel, but I've worked the drips really, really well, so there aren't any. is to sand your drips before you do your top coat. That way you can then put that top coat under there and you're not going to have to
You're
sand it
wrapping it.
off, and you're encapsulating it.
And you know, one thing that I'll mention is when
Cut
you
in front of you.
when you are doing your epoxy, your polycoat, whatever it is, I always like to kind of wipe my first couple drips in. And you can use a stick to take them off as well. But essentially what you're doing with that as well is you're pushing the epoxy and kind of smearing it on that edge. And
So
it kind of seals that wood a little bit.
Make sure you do go over one.
You got
so this
a
is
little something.
We got a little something, something. So here's
We'll show
a
'em how to
perfect
take it out.
example. So there's just like, I don't know, a bug or dust or whatever. So I'm just going to take it out with my finger, and then I'm going to wet roll and kind of just work that in a little bit. And then Corey's going to dry roll again. And that way,
Yeah, and again,
it
I'm
covers it up.
I'm not
He's
rushing.
not stressing.
I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. So that I can see that area that she had. So I'm going to come back through.
Mm-hmm.
And again on this one, very little pressure. Again, I like the angle.
I'm going to start doing that. Well, Travis does the dry roll, so
Yeah.
You'll have to
I mean,
tell
it's
Travis.
you know, preference. Everyone has their own techniques. This is just one I learned a long time ago, and it has stuck with me.
Well, it kind of makes sense. Instead of seeing a bunch of lines one way or the other, it just kind of blends all together, especially the pattern is going that direction.
Yep.
So it fools the eye in case you get a lap line, you know. So I think it's really smart. I would never have thought of that.
Well,
so.
I try to be really smart.
Yes, you do. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, a wise one.
Well, I'll tell you, we did a bar. This was a long time ago, many years ago, and there was a couple lines. I had some difficulty with another product we were using.
You got the frontage here?
Yep. And there was I went back a few months later, and I was sitting at the bar, and I happened to sit right down a line that I could see, and it really annoyed me. And I actually told them, "Hey, I want to come back and redo it." So we did. So then I somehow figured if I changed it, and I don't know, it could be a balance thing or what have you, but the angle is the best way for me to go for sure.
Yeah. No, I really like it. And everything is flattening out. So this is going to be such a smooth finish.
Yeah. And you'll see like little tiny bubbles. They will pop and disperse on their own.
Well, and you can kind of see it in the light here. I don't know if you can still catch it,
Yeah, see,
but they're already starting to
yep.
flatten out. And then don't judge it too soon because it's going to need to do its job, right? So I'm seeing a beautiful finish. And typically gloss top coats leave a very, very strong orange peel texture. This is not going to be orange peel.
Yeah,
it's
this
going
is
to
very
be
subtle.
Very, very subtle. That was a big reason on the last top coat I didn't like as much because you really saw that texture more, and I like not seeing it. That's just my own personal preference.
And these are going to be easier to clean as well.
Mm-hmm.
Real soft, feel great on the hands. And again, we'll show you in videos, we'll show you this again once it cures so you can see the final finish. And then we got some other really cool projects that we've been working on that I'm excited about, that we use a mat on, and she's going to show you that. So
yeah, we'll share more about that. So stay tuned. We'll show you the finish reveal in just a moment.